Okay, so today I'm going to show you all how to make the RPG doors that I use on servers and adventure worlds, which you can use them on too, really, if you know how to do it. Okay, so essentially you have two different basic kinds of doors. You have your simple doors and your complex doors. The simple doors run automatically, the complex doors run a prompt. On the simple doors, you'll want to set up an input point and an output point for each section. For example, A, it being the input, B being the output for each of these, so that once you've reached the gray area, which is anywhere in the selector, then you will be instantly teleported to the signs over here, and vice versa with the second input. It's rather a simple command. I'll leave it broken down in the description, of course, with the selector simply replaced with a variable, with the basic variables, actually. So it'll be TP at P, X, Y, Z, R, then X, Y, Z again. Really just a simple breakdown, simple command. Okay, the complex doors, they're a little bit more, as the name says, complex. The first thing you're going to want to do is create an objective. I usually just call it door. It needs to be a dummy objective, or else it is not going to work. Okay, so essentially you'll want to do this again, which to do this, by the way, you'll want to shift click a hopper into any block. I usually just use a hopper because it's easier, so you don't have to switch blocks. You shift click it in to the other block so that it's facing it, and then you remove the first block and put them facing each other, and you put any item in. It'll then go back and forth between the two hoppers, creating a non-redstone circuit, which you can transfer into redstone by simply using a comparator. Now, for your inputs, you're going to want to put the command blocks in this order and line them up with comparators so that the commands do not run unless they run in this specific order. The first command that'll run will set the player in the area of effect. It will set their objective score to 1. Simple as that. The second command block is the complicated one. Okay, this is what sends the players a prompt. Essentially, you use the tell raw command at whatever player meets the requirements in the selected zone, but they have to have a score of exactly 1. That's why I put score minimum of 1 and score of 1. Because the second one, the score of 1, is the maximum score. So the minimum and maximum are both 1. You can change the text that's sent to the player here, or you can change the hover text here. And I will leave in the description some values for color coding these, because they're not the normal Minecraft color codes. If you run a server and you've used Message of the Day, then you'll know what I'm talking about, possibly. Which, yes, it works with that as well. Now, clicking on this text will run the command the same as the other command, which teleports any player with a minimum score. Once again, minimum. You'll see why in a second. It will teleport the player in the input to the output. As simple as that. It's a lot of complicated for just a little bit of simple. Now, the third command block sets any player in the selector zone with a minimum score on their door objective to 1. It will set their score to 2. The third command block makes it so that any player outside of the selector zone that isn't in a different selector zone will have a door score of 0. That way, players can't simply run away and then teleport. When it is all running together, it should go something like this. As simple as that. Whereas the automatic ones are, as the name states, automatic. Now, you can implement this in a number of different ways. You can have multiple different interiors for the same building based on how far a player is in his story progression. Or you can even just set up a dungeon type of deal, where to get in, you have to meet a certain requirement. And then you click, as you can see, I've made the word dungeon red just for emphasis, just for looks. And when you click on it, you're teleported to the other side. And I made it so that any player that comes up to here is automatically transferred out. It makes it a little bit easier because this is supposed to represent a dungeon door, so that if you're being chased by 12 skeletons, you don't have to click, you're just out instantly. As simple as that. And that's really about it for this video. I mean, I'll upload more tutorials later, but that's pretty much it for RPG doors. Use them as you will. Okay.